Which leads me on to the next question, the next statement from Laura. There is a problem with the industry which panders to the elite riders when in fact the majority of riders are average, and the majority are female as well, and the majority are in pain. Or three. I think we need to stop selling the dream and work on the reality. Oh, what do riders want, the dream or the reality?
Yeah, it comes down to a little bit what I was talking about before, that there are some horses that we see that are so dysfunctional when we see the picture of them, that if we put a saddle on them, we wouldn't be doing them any service, because they're too rotated, too down, and they're too sore. They have too many compensations. And it actually comes down to us having a chat with that owner and saying, asking, how does it feel? Can you ride this horse? Are you guys happy together? And normally they are not happy and they're having a lot of problems. And at that state, we take a step back and say, okay, would you like to try something that might actually change this and change how your horse feels about being with you, change, the balance of things, and get the horse ready so that when we do fit it, things will be easier. And a lot of people are taking that wise decision of, stepping back, doing something different, and then coming back with a horse that has the strength to carry them without falling downward and rotating, which brings me to the next picture here.
Can I just get Bradley's feedback or comments on what Laura has suggested?
Yeah. Laura, as always, she's ahead of the curve, like a lot of other people. The beautiful part is, I absolutely wholly agree with her. We're keeping going for this elite kind of element, and not everybody's elite. Not everybody can afford an elite horse. I can only speak about what I've done in terms of creating and things like that. We create a product, and we come up with my crazy idea, and then I give it to my what we call alpha testers, and they're a group of people which I trust wholly and deeply, and they're not going to suddenly run off with one of my crazy ideas or anything like that. That then hones the product, and then what we do is we go to our beta group, and our beta group is what is politely nicknamed the problem group, and they are a bunch of people with a variety of problems, from kissing spines to hock issues to back issues in the rider to knee injuries, hip issues with the riders, everything. So you create a product. My view is you create a product which works for perfect. And then what you do is you go, right, now actually apply it to reality. Let's give it to the horses with kissing spines. Let's give it to horses with shoulder issues. Let's give it to horses with hock issues. Let's give it to riders with back issues. And it's got to work for them. It's, that's, and Laura's absolutely right. The vast majority, that's who you're catering for. There's no point trying to cater for the elite. The elite are easy. It is.
Yeah, they're stabilized and fit.
Exactly. They're stabilized. They ride 8 horses a day. They're core strong. The horses are well toned. They're shod every 4 weeks. It's relatively easy. They are Formula One cars to a degree. The honing, the minutiae is really important with those. But you're trying to eke out 0.5% in terms of performance. The biggest change and the biggest difference you'll make is Jeff the cob, who's got crap, pardon my language, but crap feet and everything like that. That's where you're going to make the best benefit, by actually sitting down with that customer and talking them through the procedures and the processes and how you can support that horse, how you can support that rider in a variety of different ways. I'm certainly tired of manufacturers which are trying to produce products which are more for the elite, and actually there's very little for the lower end, and it frustrates me. So yeah,
I think the problem here becomes also that because riders don't have their own knowledge of who they are, what their body type is, what their horse body type is, they are only met with the advertising of what the elite riders are saying, which is leading these riders to come and ask you, what elite rider rides in this saddle, instead of asking, would this saddle suit me and my horse? And this is really, a thing where you have to turn back and say, okay, which one of these elite riders do you look like? Yeah. Which one of these elite riders have your settings? And which horse do they ride that is like yours? and then it would be not a very comfortable conversation.
You're a lot braver to have that conversation than I am. I will freely admit I'm a bit of a coward. I will go, right, okay.
That's a whole other summit, actually, which I have on the list. Yeah, we do need to talk about fitting protocol and what we can do and what we need to know. And we're going to have to catch up pretty quickly.
Now,
Laura
let's move forward because we are getting stuck in questions.
Yeah. I know. Laura says, agree 100%, Bradley. Okay, over to you, Maria.
Okay, so on elite riders, so there are 3 major things that riders can help the horses to do better, or that riders can basically make sure the horse can't do. So this is like a triangle with a base. So we can read it from the top, but really we should be reading it from the bottom because it works bottom up and top down on the horse. So first of all, we need a horse to be able to engage its hind end. And it does that by actually stabilizing its back and using its braking power. And there are a lot of things that we are making the horse lift the hind legs too early instead of using its stabilization or braking phase. So the rider really need to be aware of where they end up on the back, and the saddle decides that in very many ways. Because as soon as you're too far back on the horse, things will start to happen. So if the hind isn't working, then we get a little bit of a problem with the horse self-carriage in the front. Because if you cannot hold the whole heavy body from moving too fast over the front leg, the body mass will actually move too fast over the front leg. And this means that the horse will push off with the front leg a little bit too late. And it's then pushing forward instead of upward. Okay. And as it's doing this, you're already starting to get problems with rotation because it's not able to stabilize its body. So it starts to rotate in the rib cage. And this is also something that the rider's leverage and weight and way of using the body has an impact on. So we can do a lot of things as riders to help the horse to engage, get the push up in the front and stay in the middle to actually be able to push the withers up and stay up. And these are our essential things when we start to look at the saddle and what we actually do with the rider. So let's move to the next one there. And I want to move to the rider.
Okay. Or to the horse. Two very quick comments. One from me. You talk about stability, but the English saddles are generally not wide enough to support the rider mediolaterally from side to side. They're just not. And I have found this using my horse simulator. That's what riders really struggle with, is stabilizing side to side.
Laterally,
the seats are not wide enough. No. And then it also comes down to affordability, 100%. Innovation is what we need, but if it's not affordable for the average amateur, the evolution will be stunted. That's where it's at. That's the big picture. And just thinking of the country I work in and the market here, compromising on saddles happens on an uncomfortable level due to lack of knowledge as well as price. So yes, we didn't say this was ever going to be easy.
No, it isn't. It is. But you see, good design, once you know what good design is, it's not necessarily much more expensive. It's about changing how you do the procedures and making things in a factory. And once you establish new procedures, it suddenly isn't as hard or as expensive. The hard thing is to get people who maybe never did it that way to think about maybe doing it that way.